Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Nine and Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So I saw this that there are so many videos going around and all that. A lot of black people are actually coming out, or other people also making it look like black people shouldn't be proud of where they come from, right? But there is this Bad Bunny who actually sang a song and was talking about how there is need to preserve culture and keep the culture alive. Everybody were able to say, yeah, that is true, that is true. Like, I agree with him. But when a black person talked about how their culture should be preserved and all that, you all came out to talk down on her and talk down on black culture, right? Now, I am going to say that the fact that majority of you are all black leftists, are you people are the ones that your parents, like or your grandparents, you can let's say grandparents, actually experienced Jim Crow, are so quick to come out here and talk rubbish. The reality is that some people actually do not see African American culture as real culture because why? There is a stitch that I was able to grab. She is Haitian American, right? She is a leftist. I know about it. And the video will also enlighten you on her mindset. The fact that she feels like black culture is not like, there is nothing like, like it's not something people should talk about or something somebody should be proud of, tells you her mindset. And these are the people that grew off black people. Where, like if you look around where she is living among black people. Let's get into this video.
Your grandparents lived through Jim Crow and your great great grandparents picked cotton, but you came online and said that Black Americans cannot be proud of where we're from. We can't be proud of our culture because that's propaganda and that's nationalism and that boosts up America. That's what you guys said. Y'all don't speak a lick of Spanish besides hola, but you can understand Bad Bunny's album and send it praise because he's saying we need to find reclamation in our culture, we need to keep our culture alive, and we need to be proud of our culture. The ability for the leftists to come on this app and not see how they willingly contradict themselves at times where it's actually quite comical. There's a whole discourse on how Bad Bunny can be proud of where he's from because Bad Bunny comes from a colony and we can't be proud of where we're from because we come from the empire or the imperialistic power. This is why I'm so loud about being Black American, the Black American experience, Black American culture, and Black American history, because from within the country, people don't understand us. But especially from outside of the country, you don't understand. Black Americans are the colonized within the colonizing power. Created our culture in a vacuum under oppression post-slavery, and we can be proud of that culture that we created here. Because it's been less than a month and someone who is a megastar made an album about his people, his homeland, of which a lot of that album stems from the African traditions from that homeland. But when a Black woman from America does the same thing about her homeland, it was met with such a level of vitriol and just like flat out anti-Blackness that to this day, I'm still trying to process what was going on there. But the fact that you guys don't see how ironic and how contradictory you are is really concerning. It's really concerning. We can be proud of that culture and still not like what our government does. Most people around the world do not like what their government does, imperialistic power or not. And the fact that people want to hate America so much, rightfully so. Like, I'm not judging you for disliking America's policies, America's what they do around the world. I'm not judging you for that, but you cannot judge Black Americans for being Black American. It's like you're judging me for being born. I don't know. This is just funny today because I saw like 3 or 4 posts from people who were very loud about Black American culture being propaganda. If there's one thing I won't miss on this app is this type of discourse, even though it needs to happen. But geez.
Before TikTok goes, I'm gonna start talking a lot of shit because I have a lot of opinions. One of those opinions being that y'all do not see Black American culture as real culture. And the reason that I'm saying this is because black people are getting flack for going on Xiaohongshu and commenting like the braids dead emoji under videos of Chinese people wearing natural black hairstyles. So I just want to propose a question real quick, okay? Whenever this conversation of anti-blackness comes up in East Asia, the automatic excuse is always, well, they don't know any better. They don't interact with black people. Not everything's about black people. Not everything's about you. This is a huge thing that happens in the J fashion community, which is a community that I'm a part of, where there is undeniable evidence of black influence in some styles, but people will die on the hill that it has nothing to do with black people, even if Japanese magazines are featuring all of these black artists that they take inspiration from, right? The conversation always turns into, well, they're ignorant and you need to be quiet because you're actually not understanding their culture, which is just the most ridiculous fucking Uno card shit I've ever heard in my life. So let's get back to the question I want to propose to y'all. There are areas in America that are heavily segregated still to this day. There are many areas in America where a black person can go most of their life with barely interacting with East Asian people, right? So by that logic, that black person can do whatever they want with East Asian culture, right? Because they're ignorant. So they can put on a caricature, they can say slurs, they can say things that are offensive to that culture, but it doesn't matter, right? Because they live in a vacuum. Do you see how stupid that logic is? And I do want to acknowledge we are coming into their space, right? And there is something to be said about that, and that is a very, very valid conversation that I think we should be having. But black culture is like the only culture in the world where we're not allowed to have a say with what other people do with it, right? Y'all never argue when Japanese people or Chinese people or Korean people come out and say that something's offensive to their culture. MHA is literally not allowed to be talked about on Xiaohongshu because one of the characters was kind of based off of some Japanese general that was like doing war crimes against Chinese people. That's gross. They have a right to want to push that out, right? But whenever black people have something to say about the use of our culture or the use of our history, suddenly it's don't bring your woke political correct SJW nonsense on this app, da 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 da. But there are certain topics that are sensitive to your culture as well. Like, we're this close to solidarity, bro. We're kind of on the same page about that, right? I'm also seeing some Chinese creators on here in the same breath talk about how they should have gatekept Xiaohongshu, and then also say that black people are annoying them by trying to gatekeep aspects of their culture. Do you not see how contradictory that inherently is? And I feel like this is going to be a really hot take, and I feel like this might start like a shitstorm, but like it's real. And when it comes to East Asia in particular, it feels like a lot of people feel like they have a special right to gatekeep their culture, right? A lot of East Asia boos, quite frankly, love the fact that these countries are exclusive and homogenous, right? And a lot of them feel like they are special if they're able to crack into these cultures for that reason, because not everyone can fully be involved. Y'all worship them for that, but then act like black people are stupid and out of our depth for doing the exact same thing. And I want y'all to sit in that contradiction. Don't please. Yeah, I really don't want to hear it, because this is inherently contradictory and y'all know it. You know this is contradictory and I'm sick of seeing it. And I know other black people, I know y'all have clocked this. And last thing that I'm going to say is I have seldom seen an actual real black person go and send someone real hate or death threats over braids or cultural appropriation. The funniest part is, and I know you guys have seen this too, so don't even lie. If you go to the comment section of someone who has posted up who's non-black with braids or whatever, right? Most of the time, the most you will see is someone saying, the braids, dead emoji. The braids, I'm crying. Like, because if I'm being honest, it looks dumb on a lot of people because you guys can't tell what good braids versus bad braids look like because you're not part of the culture. And we are allowed to giggle at that because you're hating from outside of the club. And China is a special case in the way that I feel like a lot of these people actually haven't really interacted with black people. But people, again, were calling it like hip hop style. They know generally where this came from, right? And also because of the fact that there's kind of like a blockade in our communication and are able to communicate what our culture actually is, I think that makes it so that when people in China do these things, it comes off as even more of a caricature because so much of the cultural context is missing. Y'all can't be mad at us for that. It's literally just our culture. You're yelling at me about our culture. Goodbye.
It is no surprise that the same creators that were calling Beyonce's performance propaganda are coming out speaking so proudly about Bad Bunny representing his culture. I mean, we've been telling y'all that y'all hate black women forever, but it's always, no. My dad's half black, or I grew up with black people, or my friend's black. Like, babe, It runs deeper than that. There's no way you so confidently got on here, propped up your phone and said, Bad Bunny told us to go back and preserve our culture. But last week you were just on here supporting a biracial, a quadroon. And that's not offensive, okay? That's literally what the term is. Look it up. Remember, right? Words, they sound mean, but that's not. Look up the definition. A quadroon is perfectly good way to describe her. Nonetheless, you were just on here protecting that quadroon, calling your culture propaganda, but now Bad Bunny is just, he was so scared of Kindle. And y'all be grown adults, grown, fully functioning adults.
I don't think it's fair to say that the people who are praising Bad Bunny for his album, but who also participated in the Beyonce propaganda conversation by saying that they believe that she was a propagandist, are just people who don't like black women. And before you yell, scream, throw your shoe at my face, I get it. Just give me 10 minutes, actually. Like, put the phone down and go do something, because I want to talk to you about something that's kind of elaborate, but I need the whole time to talk about it. I'm a Haitian immigrant who's been in the country for over 16 years, but I want to share this perspective because I think it's actually kind of relevant. But I also think in patterns and shapes, so give me a minute to make everything connect. Just around 3 years ago, me and some friends flew to Puerto Rico to enjoy one of our birthdays, and we had a lot of fun. At some point of the trip, we wanted to go down somewhere, and people were telling us not to go for whatever reason. I don't exactly remember if the reason was that they didn't want foreigners there or that it was sketchy, but they told us not to go. But we had a local friend that we had met over there, and he was like, you know what, if you guys want to go, I'll take you. And I was certainly down with the shit. So he was like, okay, follow me, but it is a bit sketchy. And because it was sketchy, some of my friends stayed back, and the rest of us went with him. And the ones who stayed back were like, if you're not back in 20 minutes, we'll call the cops or whatever. But we walked with him to that place, and the reason why he really wanted to take us is because this kind of path descended to the edge of the island, and the beach was beautiful over there. So as we walked through a maze of corners of just houses on top of houses, dark corners. It was nighttime, so it was like super sketchy. Some people sitting outside, some people not sitting outside, just a bunch of corners on corners until we actually reached the beach. Well, the edge of the island, it was like a rocky cliff where we could look at the water. The thing is, as we descended into these corners, the first thing I felt was not like uneasy or sketchiness. I felt nostalgic. And the second thing I felt was sadness, which was immediately replaced by despair, because by the time I got to that edge, I fell down on my knees and started bawling. And I mean, I was hysterical. And my friend who's Haitian knew why I was crying. She knew I was crying because I miss my country. Those little maze-like corners of houses stacked on top of houses in Puerto Rico are very much like the ones in Haiti. These are corners that I ran through, that I hurt myself, that I knocked on doors at when I was little in Haiti. And these are houses whose roofs that I climbed and jumped and ran on to fly kites. I was mourning my country, mourning actively being in Haiti, and today I mourn the same way. But I also know that at the time and now, one of the biggest reasons that I have no access to my country is because of America. That's the first part. For a lot of immigrants who come from countries like Haiti, countries with corrupted or failed governments, kind of puppeteered by America, their understanding of America is very different. If you speak to an immigrant like that who's never been in America and ask them to describe to you an American person, majority of the time, especially if they have no pop culture reference or media reference, they're going to describe to you a white man from a nuclear family. They're probably going to emphasize the blue eyes and the blonde hair, and that understanding won't change until they come in the country. Now, let's say they come in the country and assimilate for just about 2 years, wherever they are, Texas, New York, Miami, California, and you ask them again to describe to you an American, and that one might be diverse, right? The response might be very different depending on where they are. You might still get a white man, but he's not going to be the nuclear family white man. He might be a hipster white man. It's because they have now understood America to be something different than what they believed in before. Likewise, for a lot of immigrants like that, despite how they like America and in one way, shape, or form kind of adore America for the opportunities that it gives and for being a better, quotation marks on better country than theirs, will also tell you that they know about the horrors of America. Because for immigrants that come from countries like Haiti, a lot of them already know that America has a lot to do with the corrupted system. Again, the failed government is a Haiti part, but a lot of that part comes from American puppeteering. So their understanding of America is usually binary. These are the things that America does good. These are the things that America does bad. And the things that are bad are really bad. And these people will go on and off about how America has done their country dirty. But these are the same people that when they have their green card to live in America will jump to the skies, thank God, and say even thank you Biden and make a song about it. The thing to understand about this is that majority of the time the gratitude is not the fact that they're in America and they're gonna be an American and they're happy about that. No, but the gratitude is because of an opportunity. Gratitude is more towards all the opportunities that they believe that they will get from being in America. All the opportunities to study, to take their kids to a good school, to have a better job, to have better pay. These are all their concepts and understandings. And to that I say, for most of them, if these opportunities were given to them back home, they would have stayed. And if these opportunities were granted to them back home, they would go back. because they love their culture and they love their country. Now, ask any of these immigrants before they step in the country, what are their favorite American singers or pop stars? And one might tell you Beyonce. The other one might tell you Michael Jackson. One might even tell you Taylor Swift. But Beyonce and Michael Jackson are very common people you'll hear, especially Michael Jackson. However, the thing is, with these love and adoration for these artists, there's kind of a detachment that they are American. So of course, they recognize Beyonce or Michael Jackson as African American and Black, but there's a disconnect between the fact that they are American. Because again, to these immigrants, the average American does not look like Beyonce or Michael Jackson. Because kind of similarly to these immigrants, Black American people and Black American culture is violently misunderstood or even unheard of. It's kind of like it's not a thing. So that was the most thing I found interesting about the Beyonce propaganda conversation, because for a lot of immigrants, especially those not in the country or freshly in the country, when she holds that American flag and she sings about Cowboy Carter, it is not perceived the same as when, let's say, Donald Trump holds the American flag. Matter of fact, I don't think it's perceived at all. Mainly because immigrants don't attach Beyonce to American imperialism and destruction, but they also do not attach her to immigrant culture. And so until they know about American culture, African American culture, Black American culture, and all these subcultures, Beyonce's kind of like an anomaly. Like, yeah, Beyonce's American, but she's Beyonce. Kind of connects with the fact that for most people, African American culture or Black American culture, however you want to call it, is not even seen as a culture in its own. It's like a subculture of like American culture. And I mean that in the worst way possible. It exists within barriers, which is why a lot of people genuinely just don't recognize it as a culture in itself. This is not a reality for immigrant artists at all. Now, this is not an issue for immigrants at all, because whether you think immigrants are good or bad, or that their cultures are good or bad, you always know that they have culture. You always believe that there's a Haitian culture, there's Puerto Rican culture, yada, yada, yada. So when Bad Bunny comes on stage and he becomes a patriot for his country and culture, other immigrants, especially those immigrants I'm talking about specific here, kind of look at it like themselves too. It's easy for them to align with that. Not just immigrants, it is easy for people to align with him because they're kind of sorry for our country. There's a specific group of people in America, whether you call them leftists or not, and these people have grown to hate American government and sometimes American culture. Because once you begin to kind of swallow American history, you begin to have a disdain for how it treats its own people, let alone foreigners from other lands. The more and more you indulge yourself in American history, the more and more you indulge yourself in American mishaps, what they've done to other countries and what they're doing to their own people till today, the more and more people might grow a disdain for America. And this disdain of American government and American culture overpowers a lot, to the point that it even hinders your own people. And we can see that with the conversation that we're having during the election. But people who align with what I've just said will find their heartstrings being tugged and pulled when Bad Bunny talks about his country, because the gentrification of his country and most of these other bad things happening to it are directly caused by America. The thing to notice is that neither group that I've spoken about, whether it was the immigrants not very well aware of American culture or these people who have grown a disdain for American government and culture, recognizes that they're doing one thing, and that's ignoring and bypassing African American culture and all the subcultures within it. I'm an immigrant who's been here for over 16 years. The American flag means a lot of different things to me, but one of the first thing it means to me is the corruption of my country. And I can tell you that if I walk into a neighborhood and all of the houses in that neighborhood have American flags standing or like cooked in front of them, I am violently uncomfortable. Immediately, I'm made aware that I'm an immigrant, that I have an accent, that this is not my land, that they could always tell me to go back home even if I'm a citizen. I'm made aware that I am Black. It's safe to say that I'll be a little nervous. But the minute that the people outside these houses come out and I see Black people, these flags become way more nuanced to me. The understanding behind my perception of the flag is not different, it just opens room for more. Because when somebody like that holds that flag, when that flag is standing in the hands of a Black American, majority of the time it recounts a story that I never knew. Parts of history that has been digested and devoured by American imperialism, because Black Americans are also victims of American imperialism. In fact, they are the first victim. I said I don't think it's fair to say that they don't like Black women, because it's not just about that. It's not that they hate Black women. It is a bigger problem, because at least hate has some sort of understanding. It is a complete ignorance of something existing. While we relish in the culture of African Americans, while we indulge and relish ourselves in Black American culture, we live in proximity to them and deny them their humanity, and deny them their history, and deny them their existence. I think this is a very distinguished conversation, but I think the theme of it all is that African American culture and people are not seen. So I can weep tears for my country. Bad Bunny can make music about his, but African Americans are not allowed to actually participate in any indulgence of theirs. Because to so many people, even some African Americans, their entire existence have been consumed by American imperialism. And that is extremely anti-Black. Coming from somebody who believes that Beyonce, Bad Bunny, and myself are all capable and have spread propaganda in its neutral sense.
So this is all I got from this video, and I am going to start with this last person because, I mean, you all remember that there was a discourse as last 2 weeks about somebody who said that Beyonce is spreading propaganda, right? Because of her song where she raised the flag and all that. Now she talked about Black culture, how Black culture is not being seen. I think that is a very huge lie. Black culture is seen all over. Anybody that said that Black culture is not seen must really be a liar. Check around, check all countries, especially Africans. And when we talk about Haitian, you all already know that Haitian, Jamaicans, they all have like the same ancestry and all that, right? And majority of the things that happens mostly in that can also be like, they have so many similarities. Yeah, they have so many similarities, right? Now, while she was saying that Black culture is not seen, how do you say Black culture is not seen when majority of Africans and other people, Jamaicans and all that, lived and practice Black culture? When we talk about even like when I talk about even to the extent that everybody wants to look like Eve at some point. Everybody wants to look like probably Tupac. Everybody wants to look like B.I.G. and dress like them too, talk like them, do everything like them. It will still to this very moment. When you go to some certain places, you definitely will see African, like sincerely speaking, I am going to start with Nigerians, all right? Nigerians, all Black people, like Black Americans, a whole lot, because literally they grew up with anything that got to do with Black Americans. When I go out, I don't care how we can, like, do experiment if you want, right? I probably might go to a place and you definitely will find out that they are not even playing Afrobeat. Maybe a particular day is dedicated for African American music. That is how huge it is. I don't know if you understand what I am saying. And then she talked about American flag being held up, and when American flag, when Beyonce held American flag, she remembered what is going on in her home country and all that. Hold American government responsible for what is going on in your country, not just only your country, other countries too, right? But not Beyonce. Beyonce is not your problem. I thought sometimes we all get it wrong, right? And is it because something is going on in your country? So for that reason, Beyonce shouldn't be proud of her country, right? She said that each time we talk about Americans, like each time we talk about America, the first thing people talk about is maybe like blonde hair, blue eyes, and all that. Like, who told you that? Who told you that? You know why? Why I know that she knew that she actually messed up was because I went back. I downloaded this video probably yesterday, right? I went back to the video, like as I went back to the video to check the video. It happened that she has removed the video. Why? Because she knew that she messed up. She messed up. Leftist. Now let me tell us something. One thing I do not support. I am usually very plain when it comes to some certain things. I really used to like her a lot, not until I found out that there are all these leftists and all that acts like, I don't know what is their problem, but sometimes people grew up but like she said she's been in America for how many years? 16 years. So she literally, like you said, she said she's also American, right? But anything might happen anytime and all that. So which means she has lived all her life, like probably 16 years of her life in the United States. And trust me, she probably, her community absolutely will be Black community. Like, because who else? Which other community will she share? Will she share Asian community or Hispanic or white? Because she does not fit into that. Absolutely. Black community. All these people are the people that suck up. See, I'm sorry to say, but this truth really need to be told all these people are the people that suck up Black people and then come back to tell stories that touches the heart. See, honey, you better step, like, just calm down, right? Because I know where you are going. I remember when that discourse came out about Black people being, see, now they are in support. See how some people are hypocrites. I am sorry that I am probably sweating or, like, dragging my hair up and down, but like, it's really unfair that because you feel Beyonce does not fit the American dream. So not really American dream, like American status. I don't know if this is the correct thing to say, but yeah, from what she said, right? Because she said when you talk about Americans, the first people that people talk about is the blue eye and the blonde hair, right? But then there is a guy, the bunny, or the Hispanic guy that came out to talk about how Black people should also keep their own culture. He was talking about how culture should be kept and not be shared and all that. Everybody were able to align and, like, agree to what he was saying. But Beyonce talked about that. She is spreading some propaganda. Some people will really need, I don't know how some people will make heaven because they feel like, I love how the other girl talked about how some people do not see African culture as a real culture. They like kind of say it like just anything, anybody can just bypass and all that and just walk away. Nah, culture is culture. It's either you choose to respect that culture or you are not respecting it. Because, see, I don't know why, but some people really can just be something else. And one thing I will always keep saying is that, may I not be somebody that benefits, like, all those people that all they do is benefit from you. And then when something happens, you see them switch up. I saw her. What's Satan? Sorry, I don't want to mispronounce her name because she's a Black woman. Right? She is Haitian. No matter how angry I am always careful when it comes to us. But it's a black and black thing, and I am calling Seta Minata. Right? I saw you. You are part of the people supporting Sahem or something. I saw you. I saw the people you align with. And I saw each time you share their posts because we are mutuals. You probably might not be following me or anything. And also you don't need to know me because you have probably big following and all that. But I am seeing everything because you act so anti-Black. I see all of it. Yeah, I see it. So if you are saying this, I wanted to know, why did you take the video down? Why did you take the video down? If you knew that you were correct, or you are like, you know what you are saying, why did you pull the video down? That shows that there are errors on the video you made. You already can do better because sometimes you don't bite the hand that feed you. But this is what some of you do. I see all of you Black leftists. I see all of you. And you all can actually do better and learn to speak the truth. We must not always have the same how do I say that? We must not always agree. But one thing I wanted to say is that let's agree when it is the truth, not when it is the truth. Some people are pulling out. Some people are not pulling out. Do better. Bye for now.